What's going on, traders? Welcome back to the weekly Forex Outlook and Reviews. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you are having a fantastic weekend. Now, last week's analysis, we absolutely screamed it. We got 10 out of 10 for last week, which was absolutely fantastic. Almost 3,000 pips you could have taken advantage of. Simple analysis, break and retest, breakouts. Simple patterns, simple processes, understanding structure, identifying behavior, and that's all we did. Okay, so I'm going to keep it very brief. It's Sunday, and I want to continue to enjoy the weekend with my family, and I want you to do the same as well. So let's take a look at these 10 pairs. We're going to start with pound USD all the way down to gold, and we're going to see what we can do. This week is not going to be very simple in terms of understanding structures, because we know that the dollar is immensely strong. We can see that it's really extended on all pairs, but we'll do our very best to identify what we could be looking for moving into next week. So taking a look at pound USD, it goes without saying, it only makes sense to continue to look for sells moving into next week. We want to mark our structural high where we believe price can come back to, and a level in the market where we want to see price trading below. This is a very important level because the market is super extended. So it'll be very nice to see some sort of pullback and retest into this structure next week, using the structural lows as a range for targets, and see if we can have some sort of continuations. If not, there's really not much you can do with this structure other than just wait. I would say once price comes back to 39.45, this is where we're going to start to pick up the biggest signs of what price is going to do, whether we're going to correct this whole move all the way back up to 41.40, or we're going to retest some of these previous structural lower highs and then look for those continuations. I personally, for the next 24 to 48 hours, will be sticking to sells only on pound USD moving into Sunday, Monday, and then reevaluate the market moving into Tuesday. Next pair we'll take a look at is USD JPY. Now, just like I mentioned on pound USD, we saw the real strong push face to the downside, and we hadn't seen the correction yet. You can see here, once price started to break out of this level on USD JPY around the 110.17 area, you can see that price corrected the whole move back to this level. Now, this is the retest level that we're going to be looking for price to hold around 110.17 to see if we can get a continuation to the upside. And what I'd first like to see is price breaking above a key level in the market where it's failed to break above for a long period of time. So 110.35 is a key level for me to see price breaking above, then looking for that sort of retest and then the continuation just back to some of these structural highs for targets. The target level that I'll be looking for here for my first targets, of course, is going to be this one, which is the structural high at 110.78. Now, bear in mind, because this is a solid level in the market, 110.17, if price does start to break through this, then there's a very high chance we are going to continue bearish based on a structural high, lower high formation in anticipation of a new downtrend, which will be a correction of this dollar strength and this movement to the upside. To be safe rather than sorry, we want to give price some breathing room here. So we don't want to see price breaking 110.17 and then looking for immediate sells. I think the best plan of action, if price does decide to correct next week, we're going to be looking for a break of 109.87, and then we're going to be looking for that retest continuation. Am I concerned about the traffic to the left? Absolutely not. I focus on the current structure and behavior. So if we start breaking below 109.87.4, then there's a very high chance that we can continue pushing down to some of these structural lows here for our target sells. But for now, if you want my single bias on this pair, you want to stick to buys simply because the behavior of the market is dollar strength. We have a correction back into a retest level at 110.17. So a nice break above 110.35 and a retest and a continuation back up to 110.78 will be a very, very good plan moving into Sunday, Monday. Next pair we'll take a look at is Aussie Dollar USD. Again, beautiful analysis last week, identifying the sentiment of the market, failing to break highs, creating structural levels where price is trading below. And now we have a solid break below this current structure here, creating a new low. We also have a solid break below this structure here, creating a new low. So we can clearly see that we're sell biased on this structure. What we want to be focusing on is a level in the market where we anticipate price to pull back, which is always going to be the lower high. Because if price breaks above the lower high, then there's a very high chance that we're going to correct this market. What I'm looking for moving into Sunday, Monday is a retest of this structure and then a continuation back down to the lows. Even if it gaps down, I'll still be waiting for the pullback into 75.60, and then I'll use the lows as a target. Until a new structure forms, this is what you'll have to work with, unless you're proficient in trading the intraday time frames where you can trade both directions. But for high time frame traders, keep it simple, focus on the structures that are on the 4H time frame, and then once you get price pulling back, you can look for the continuations on your intraday time frames. Next pair we'll take a look at is USD CAD. Very, very nice movement to the upside again, just indicating here dollar strength. What we're looking for the market to do is come back to a higher low level in the market, which is this structure here. If we go down to the hourly, you'll be able to see it much clearer. Once we have isolated a level in the market, we now anticipate price to pull back and look for that continuation again back to the high that's formed. The reason why we're waiting for the pullback is because you never want to buy in a push phase. You always want to wait for price to pull back to create a bearish behavior. You want to see a depletion of that bearish behavior and then an indication of bulls stepping back into the market for a continuation based on the overall structure here. That's my only plan that I'll be focusing on for Sunday, Monday on USD CAD. Next pair we'll take a look at is pound JPY. Now you can clearly see we've created a low high in the structure. Once price broke below 150.40 here, we had this continuation to the downside. We called this last week. Again, we identified price failing to break above. And we also said as price starts to break below some of these levels here, there will be a continuation down. Again, same thing, just looking for a nice deep pullback here into a key level in the market because we're in a strong push phase. I do suspect this will be corrected. And then once price pulls back, I'll be looking for a continuation. Now, with these pullbacks, they are deep pullbacks, which simply will change the sentiment of the market's behavior moving into Sunday, Monday. So if price does not pull back and continues, then what you're going to need to do is scale down to a lower time frame. And what you want to do is you want to isolate structural highs and lows on intraday time frames, look for the pullbacks, and then look for the continuations below minor structures and not major structures if the pullbacks don't happen. If you don't know how to do that, you can go and take a look at some of my other videos on YouTube, and I do explain how you can do that. Next pair we'll take a look at is Aussie Dollar JPY. We can see a very strong push phase in this market. Again, we're looking for the correction. I did say at the start of this video, the markets are looking boring. The thing is, you're looking to capitalize once a week, once a month, or a couple of times a year. Well, maybe not a couple of times, a little bit more than a couple of times a year when the markets are moving like this. So if some people are now thinking, well, Rox, you're not giving us concrete analysis here. You're not telling us what we should be looking for 100%. Well, I did last week. I called 10 trades. All 10 went in the direction that I called it. And there was over 3,000 pip worth of movement in the market. You should have already capitalized. So if it means this week, you have to be a little bit more patient to wait for the pullbacks because of the strong push phases or the corrections or the structural bias changing, then so be it. I say play it safe rather than sorry. Wait for these clean pullbacks, play these ranges, and then look for trades. If not, then we'll just be waiting patiently next week until the market gives us another sentiment that we can follow easily. Just like last week, dollar strength, and it was just as simple as that. Bob was your uncle. This is my analysis on Aussie Dollar JPY. Next pair, take a look at is USD Swiss franc. Very strong push to the upside, dollar strength. We're looking for a level in the market where price is failing to break below. This isolates a higher low. This indicates price should trade above this level. And then what we're looking for the market to do is pull back for a retest and look for a continuation back to the highs. Very simple analysis. Again, nothing more we can say about this. 91.73 is going to be a key level and identifying a continuation of this bullish behavior. Now, this being said, just remember, if the dollar decides to weaken next week, there's a very high chance that everything will reverse. I think if that happens, you'll be waiting until about Tuesday, Wednesday to identify this. I think by Tuesday, Wednesday, if the continuations don't pull back to retest and we start breaking above some of these levels that we're mentioning, then you can look for opposite directional trades. But that'll be down to you moving into next week. So Euro Yen, I'm looking for a pullback at 132.43, just keeping it super simple. If they play out, I execute. If they don't, I step away and I make sure that I'm focusing on managing my risk and maximizing my reward. So only execute once the plan plays out. This is my analysis on Euro Yen. Next pair, take a look at is Euro USD. I'll also look at this as the major level, as it's a lower high that's formed that created the current low. We'll also have multiple wick rejections. It'll be a nice level to identify price failing to break above and look for that continuation, hoping that more sellers are sitting in around this level here, around 19.24. Again, if price starts to break above, we'll look for the flip next week. But for now, we're still looking for sales on Euro USD. Final pair we take a look at is gold. Beautiful breakout. We mentioned price fades break above, looking for breaks below some of these levels here and those continuations to the downside based on current behavior. Look at the movement. Absolutely gorgeous. I think we're looking for price to pull back into some of these levels next week for a continuation to the downside. And I think the most important level for me is 1796. So that's the analysis for the week. I did say it would be super simple. Very, very overextended markets, looking for some sort of corrections and pullbacks at retest levels in the market and look for the continuations. We'll see what happens, but just remember this analysis was of my own opinion. So this is not financial advice. And also this analysis usually stands for around 24 to 48 hours moving into Sunday, Monday. So always wake up or whatever it is, the evening for you, do your analysis again. Make sure you know what you're looking for. Try to understand the market's structure as well as behavior and sentiment of currency strength and weakness. Bring it all together, include your patterns and your processes, and there you have a formula for success. I wish you all a great Sunday. I also wish you a fantastic week ahead. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, turn on notifications. Please hit that like button for me, guys. Please hit it. Just share the love. And until next time, continue to trust the process.